Paranormal Hangover Club.
I hope everybody still likes that new intro music. That was a little bit of work for us to... No, it was actually quite easy.
I'm sweating.
Well, because you were dancing.
It's 150% humidity. It's 92 degrees here, and we were dancing.
All of Eastern Massachusetts just got hit by thunderstorms, except for us.
Except for us.
For some reason, it decided not to come through Gloucester, so...
Welcome to Gloucester!
Yeah, fantastic.
Gloucester.
How is everybody tonight? I hope you're all having fun in the chat room.
Can you hear us tonight?
I think so. People need to refresh and use that cool little wave thing.
Wicked weather says no sound.
The cool thing that Denny puts up, or whoever puts up and says, hey, click on this and use that as a computer. So we got a great show tonight. We've got our team member, Mike Galante, in here. He's the lead investigator for MGHS. He'll be saying hi to you in just a few minutes, not just quite yet.
Me go, guy, I'm saying.
And then, Pete says the storms are still coming, by the way, so we'll see.
Oh, nice. Wait, which one?
Pete, what do you think?
I don't know. We know so many Pete.
Sorry.
Wow.
Exactly, that Pete. Wicked Weather Pete. Wicked Weather Pete Lovasco says, we're still getting storms. It's hotter than hell in our apartment right now, so we better be getting storms.
Yeah. I don't know where they are. They're not here. But
we decided to go a little laid back tonight. We're gonna have a cool little discussion here with our lead investigator Mike, and our friend Dom will be calling it at some point in time. When I don't know how the Canadian thing works. I don't know if he's stuck in traffic or gonna make a beer run or what happens up there. But
making a wrestling run.
Wrestling, yes. I'm sorry, I had to catch up on this week's edition of Raw. This week's edition of WWE Raw. So Dom will be calling in a little bit, and we have a couple, or at least one other surprise guest. Our other guests didn't respond back, so we won't have them. But we want to go laid back. We've got a big event coming up for us on Friday.
This Friday. Lizzie Borden took an axe.
And she gave her mother how many whacks?
40.
No.
Yeah.
That's how the poem goes, but it's not really what happened.
It's really what, 17?
It was 11 and 19.
All right, 11 and 19.
11 and 19. Mommy and Daddy got, about, 30 whacks each.
Yeah.
So, or total, not each, but that's what happened. And there'll be much more true history happening at the Lizzie Borden event.
Yes.
Not these fake poems and stuff that you hear.
When Miss Danielle Cabral gives us her tour.
Yes, Danielle Cabral.
Yes.
Pete says speak up, and Denny says no, turn up your speaker. I like you, Denny. Tell everybody, turn your speakers up.
Yeah. I'm too loud already. If I speak up, your ears will start ringing.
So Lizzie Borden, that little woman killed her parents, or supposedly killed her parents. Many people believe somebody else killed her parents.
What are your thoughts?
If you asked me if I looked at the evidence, there's a lot of evidence that leans towards Lizzie doing it, but there's also a lot of holes because what the heck was Bridget Sullivan doing? Yeah. Well, she was bludgeoning her parents to death. Where was Bridget Sullivan? Emma came home to find it, so I don't think Emma did it. There was some streetwalker I don't say streetwalker, he's not a prostitute, but some guy wandering down the street that had, a transient that had something against Andrew Borden that supposedly could have done it. But maybe, who knows, maybe one of our lucky guests on Friday night will get the answer. They'll get an EVP that says, I did it, go away, I don't want to talk to anyone anymore.
That would be the coolest EVP ever.
I don't think Leanne, who runs Lizzie Borden B&B, would like us very much if that happened. People would say, all right, we got the answer, see you later, we don't have to come here anymore. So,
we'd still go. I think people would still go. I mean, we'd still go.
Oh, my goodness. So, Lizzie Borden, we're doing that event on Friday, so that's kind of what tonight's dedicated to. We figured we'd introduce you a little more to MGHPS. We've jumped right into shows here and didn't give you much of our history. So we brought in the man who's been with me from basically the beginning, our good friend Mike Galante, our lead investigator who I trust with my life whenever I go out on investigations, and I think everyone else on the team can do that too. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Mike in. So Mike Galante, why don't you say hi to everybody?
Hello, everybody. It's great to be on the show.
You were going to do the door slam, weren't you?
I was going to make the door open and close.
For a second, Mike was looking like, can I get out of here? Am I going to slam it? What am I going to do? But he's here to join us for the evening to talk about MGHPS and some of the things we've done and what we hope to bring to everybody at the Lizzie Borden event. I just want everyone to know that I'm really hungry because I'm staring at a pile of snacks and water over in the corner that's going to be at the event for everyone. So, by no means is that dinner. If you're coming and you're listening, bring a sandwich, pack something to bring with you, or maybe we'll pool our money together at some point during the evening and we'll all order pizzas.
Yeah.
But we've got some chips and water
Just some
and
little snacks to, keep you going through the night. When we take breaks in between switching floors or rooms or whatever.
Definitely bring caffeine. It's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
Anybody who's investigated with us before knows that we do not sleep and we get evidence everywhere we go, especially when you try to sleep.
So now that Mike's chiming in and giving us a little bit of the speech here for what to expect when you come to Lizzie, Mike, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what got you into paranormal?
The paranormal.
The paranormal.
That's right.
Well, it's a funny story. Marc and I have grown up a few doors down pretty much our entire lives, and we've both had very similar experiences in our childhood, dealing with things when we were younger, shadow people. I was tormented as a kid. Well, not tormented, but I had things that were in my house that liked to bother me because I was a kid and I didn't know any better. I would see shadow creatures on the wall. I would have toys thrown at me in the middle of the night. And, I've always had this uncomfortableness in the dark. And when we're children, we're taught to believe that there's nothing in the dark. There's nothing in the dark. It's a figment of our imagination. But our sixth or seventh sense usually tells us that, there's a reason why we don't like it when it's dark. There's a reason why we can't sleep with the closet door open. And I've always been really inquisitive about those types of things. And then I start watching TV, and you see shows like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures and The Dead Files and Haunted Collector, and these guys, they're not afraid. They're trying to get answers to the reasons why things bother us in the night, and it just really fascinated me. And then I learned that Marc had started his own team, and I really wanted to be a part of it. And Marc was nice enough to give me a tryout, and he's been teaching me the ropes and making me better ever since.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I came into the picture with Mike. As he came to me and said, "Hey, I heard that you have this team," and I'm like, "You like the paranormal?" Because Mike, if you meet Mike, you're like, "Oh, he doesn't seem like the paranormal type." But then you get to know him, you're like, "Wow, this guy's had some experiences." Mm-hmm. So when Mike came to me and expressed interest in wanting to join the team, and one of the things I said to him was, "I have no problem with you coming out. Give you a tryout. See, it's not what you see on TV. It's not the get evidence every 5 seconds. There's a lot of sitting around and asking questions and just waiting and needing to be patient for hours at a time." And he said, "Yeah, that's what I expect. I don't expect it all to happen all at once." And, and I said, "Okay, well, why don't you come on out? Let's get an investigation." He said, "Well, I've got somebody who I think we can contact." So I was like, "All right, let's set up an investigation. You can come along since you know the person and you're familiar. We'll do the investigation there." So Mike set it up, and we went to this place, and it was an incredible night. We had activity. We had some good and bad happen during the night, but it was sort of baptism by fire for him to be in this investigation, and he did a phenomenal job, and he came out of it knowing more and being better about it. And when he was all done, he had a better handle and respect on what happens during an investigation, because you go in expecting something easy to happen, and all of a sudden all hell can break loose, and you need to be prepared for that at all times. And that was a perfect example, right?
I also learned a very valuable lesson about looking through the camera in night vision mode.
Wait, what?
That was a different one.
No, that was the first investigation.
Was it?
We were in the basement, and Marc wanted me to try out the camera because I have really good night vision. And he's like, "Here, why don't you look through the camera? It'd be something completely different." So I grabbed our very wonderful equipment that we had, and I'm looking through the viewfinder and not realizing that the viewfinder screen is 2 inches, and I take up about 42 inches wide. And it was, what made it so funny is I had just turned to Marc and started mocking him about how well I could walk through the dark with the night vision camera, went bang, right into the wall, on my ass. Everyone's dying laughing. I held the camera, though, which is the most important part.
Yes. Oh my God! It was pretty funny. It was a fun night. It was.
It's like poor Don falling down the stairs, right?
Oh my God! Yeah, when Don comes on later, that's something that happened to him. He was investigating with Steve Cody, and they were at an old abandoned asylum in Canada, and it was one of Dom's first times doing this, and he fell down cement stairs to the basement, like could have died.
Yeah, I remember that.
He took a nasty fall.
He told me that. Yeah.
But if you know Dom, he's always falling down and tripping over crap anyway. And he came up. He's like a weeble that wobbles. He falls down and bounces right back up.
Yeah.
Bumbles bounce.
He came up, and the rest is history. Now he's Dom Ghost Hunter, and everybody loves the guy.
Yeah.
But this is what happened to him with Steve. The video's out there. You can look for it, and Dom will be more than happy to promote it too.
Okay.
But that's what happens to him.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I don't like holding cameras at all.
No.
No, not at all. I held one once, and I was like, F this. I can't see in front of me, and I can't see what's going on, and I can't concentrate. Someone else got to hold this camera. Like, I can't concentrate if I'm holding the camera. I don't care if it sounds prissy. Fact of the matter is, if I'm holding, like, an EMF detector, and I've got, and a flashlight and a recorder and all this other stuff, I don't want the camera. I'm okay without it.
Well, see, I'm glad you brought that up because Mike and I, actually, we both hate holding the camera, too.
Which is why the POV classes are so good.
Exactly.
There you go.
So that's one of the things that we reluctantly carry cameras around, but the majority of the time, we're like, can I put this on a tripod and start investigating?
Is Dom the one that has it on the little tripod that holds it?
Yeah. He has
right?
one of the brackets that holds it.
I know, I had to hold it for like half an hour, Fort Lee Henry. I was like, can I investigate now, or just go stand in the corner?
So, as you so eloquently just segued into that, we have the POV glasses that will be available to our attendees at the Lizzie Borden event. Mm-hmm. Pete Stagman sells them on his website, and lo and behold, you can purchase POV glasses on the MGHPS Paranormal website now. If you go to our web store, mghparanormal.com, click on the web store, you can get the POV glasses that you've seen on Ghost Hunters. But I actually love the POV glasses because although you look like a complete dork sometimes wearing them because you look like, Mr. Nerd with the sunglasses.
Nerds are hot.
Luckily it's dark anyway.
But you put these on, it has the camera right between your eyes. So whatever you're looking at is what films. And depending upon the memory card that you can get anywhere from 2 hours up to 8 hours or 6 hours of video. Mm-hmm. And it's all downloadable right onto your computer. Mm-hmm. So you get a really good sort of idea of how many times have you watched those shows and they heard something and they turned and they just missed it? Yeah. Well, with the POV glasses, you're seeing what you see. You're not doing the head turn and the camera.
Yeah, and getting completely nauseous like you're watching the Blair Witch Project.
They do need to come with a disclaimer, though. Remember that they are on when you stop in the middle of an investigation to take a piss.
Yes. Yes, when you urinate during an investigation, your POV glasses, you should probably shut them off, especially if you're a guy.
Recording the greatest flatulence.
Especially if it's cold in the bathroom.
Nobody wants to see that. By the way, Denny's going to hate us for this, but I'd like to just let everyone know we've had a few glasses of scotch this evening before doing the show.
That's not bad.
No. Scotch? I love scotch.
I love scotch.
I love scotch.
I am drinking rum. I am not a scotch fan.
So
we're happy. It's a team event.
Yes, I'm sweating. I'm waiting for Vin to call in. Oh, sorry. Vin Pacheco from Darkside Inc.
That's right.
is going to be our first guest this evening. He's going to be calling in anytime. I don't know.
Banana spiders and jars. That is so nasty.
Technically our second guest of the evening.
Wow. Mike's gone from wanting to be a co-host to being a celebrity guest.
Technically I am a guest / co-host.
Wait, today is Wednesday, right?
Last time I checked, yes.
Monday is September.
Right?
Right.
Monday, September 1st.
Monday,
by the way,
September 1st.
I'll remind everyone of this later.
That we are 7 weeks from my birthday, and everyone should get me something nice.
That too. We should get Mike something nice for his birthday. He deserves it.
Like a nice pair of Pete Stagman's POV glasses.
Dear Santa, my name's Mikey.
Not Santa. The paranormal Christmas is Halloween.
Dear Zappis.
Dear Great Pumpkin.
Dear Great Pumpkin.
So, I digress. Anyway, I completely had a thought that I lost now. September 1st. September on Paranormal Hangover is going to be off this month.
Yes. And
our first show on September 3rd, we never do this either. We never tell everybody who's going to be a guest ahead of time.
No.
But for our first show on September 3rd is going to be Jeff Mudgett.
Mr. Jeff Mudgett.
The author of Bloodstains.
Nice.
If you have not read Bloodstains, go buy it right now. It's available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. And it's on, I think it's on Bloodstains, it's like bloodstains.com or .org or something, but if you just go to Google Bloodstains, you might directly from Jeff, and it's actually cheaper than Amazon.
That might take you to a lot of dark places too, so be specific when you type in Bloodstains.
Don't do it on a work computer. That can be very bad. But Jeff has written a book about his family history, mm-hmm. which is H.H. Holmes, who was America's first serial killer.
Mm-hmm. Reported.
Rumored rumored to have killed over 200 people, although they only have like 25 or something confirmed. That only. I say only loosely.
Yeah.
He's rumored to have killed over 200 people.
That's sad.
Yeah, well, that's like
only
saying,
25 people.
When Hannibal conquered, he left 3 graves behind.
Only
3 to know of.
However, it is rumored that H.H. Holmes is also Jack the Ripper.
Of course.
So if you did not know that, you should pick up Bloodstains, read it, and find out the history of H.H. Holmes, his connection to the Jack the Ripper murders, and also about the murder castle that was in Chicago, which is now a federal building.
Yep, post office.
Believe it or not.
Now they're murdering in other ways.
But hey, the whole concept of H.H. Holmes possibly being Jack the Ripper blows my mind because there's a lot of evidence that points to it.
Yeah.
And had Jeff Mudgett not come along, we might not have ever heard of this.
Right.
There are a lot of similarities.
Yeah. I know it sounds immature and so Kardashian, but it's so cool to think that H.H. Holmes might be Jack the Ripper. That is so cool.
Why? Because we're taking something away from England?
No.
Because they don't get the Ripper, we get him?
I love puzzles.
Yeah, you got the Beatles.
So
That's good enough.
to try and put the pieces together and
England,
yeah.
Hit England and think they have one of the bloodiest killers in the history of killers, and he actually came from the U.S. and went over there and murdered people.
They have the Edwards and Dukes of York and the War of the Roses and all that nonsense. They have enough bloodshed.
Yeah. So
let us have some.
And the Crusades. Don't forget the Crusades.
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody Crusades they are. I'm still looking into a chat room. I don't see anybody calling in.
Wow.
Vin Pacheco, you're supposed to be calling in by now. I should probably leave that up. I will look into our call center because Vin might be calling and I'm not looking.
You should leave that. Imagine he's tried to call like 5 times.
I'm not paying attention to it.
Not paying attention.
Maybe he's pouring himself a drink before he calls in.
So.
Lady Bly, or is it Sailor Jerry's? Which one does Vin like?
I think he likes both, the lady and the sailor.
Okay.
It's not Rum Day, though. Friday's Rum Day.
Friday's Rum Day.
Every day is Rum Day.
Our Lizzie Borden event will be circled around Rum Day. So that'll be...
We are sober when we do our events. Don't worry about that.
Yes.
After the event is a whole nother story.
Yes. After we're done and we want to hang out and relax, whole other story.
If anybody in the chat room has any topics they want us to kind of weigh in on, be more than excited to take those right now. You're more than welcome to...
You wanted to say be more than welcome, didn't you?
Hey, you're more than welcome to jump into the chat, say something, and have us talk about it right now, as long as it's semi-paranormal related.
We could discuss some of our great investigations together, Mark.
I have some questions.
Yes.
You guys have been to Lizzie, have you not?
No.
I have
you
not.
Haven't?
No.
You haven't? I thought you have.
Nope.
Before, I went and did that small little tour with you guys. I've never. Okay.
Dom has been to Lizzie.
Yeah.
Dom has been with Lizzie.
But he hasn't been with Lizzie. He's been to Lizzie. But Dom's been to Lizzie on a tour, like a daily tour. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love about Dom is here's a daily tour, and Dom's like hanging at the back of the group with a camera, a K2 meter, a digital recorder. He's like full on investigating while they're talking about the murders. And
I remember that video.
Yeah.
You showed me that.
He's like by like the mock-up of Andrew's body on the couch. He's got the K2 out and getting K2 hits. Meanwhile, the guy next to him might have his cell phone on, but Dom's getting K2 hits, and he's all like,
everything's going off.
If you've not met Dom, the dude he's one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
One of our best friends.
He is a great guy.
He's like the biggest heart in the world.
Yes.
But he is a kid in a candy store. You take him somewhere paranormal, and you may as well just let a kid run through like a big playground.
When we went to ESP that time, Eastern State, and he was in the back of the car. Johnny Cassie, get out. They're like walking across the parking lot. Me and Marc are like, okay, I'm going to bring a couple things. Tom's in his trunk, like, putting on the bells, getting like all this backpacks full of equipment. Like, dude, we're there during the day. There are going to be kids and stuff. You might not want to do that.
My first time meeting Dom was at the Houghton Mansion. Marc had made the introduction, and Dom came over and said hi, and we started setting up. Gone. Dom was completely disappeared. Had hunted him down. No walkie-talkie. No nothing.
Nothing. He goes off on his own.
Gone.
Yeah.
Which is nice. He made me step up my game. When I first met Dom and just saw how fearless he is to go anywhere by himself, even though it's considered dangerous, it made me really realize that I need to step up my game. Here's this guy. He's been doing it for a while. He's great at it, and he's afraid of nothing. Yeah. And that's how you have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did that at the fort at Fort William Henry, with the whole cell and under the stairs thing.
Yeah.
And he went to go sit under the stairs. My heart started racing. I was like, don't, please don't do that. Please don't do that. And I stood all the way back, and he was on there. Oh, can I come in? Can I sit with you? Can I do this? Can I do that?
That brings up an interesting topic to me.
Hold on, but just before you say that, not a thing happened to him. If I had gone and done that, I would have been like scratched, chased, harassed.
This brings up an interesting topic to me because Lauren is sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's I don't want to say a rift, but there's a battle that happens sometimes between paranormal investigators and sensitives and mediums, where if you're a sensitive or a medium, you can communicate at a different level than we can with the spirits. We can't do that. So for us, the physical evidence, the touching, the scratching, the whatever we catch on an EVP, that's how we can document what's happening. A sensitive or a medium gets it in a different way. Sometimes they get scratched and touched, but it's mainly in the third eye, your mind's eye,
right,
where you're getting a lot of communication that happens, where we don't have that all the time. Mm-hmm. So that whole dichotomy, that whole mix-up of a paranormal investigator, okay, that's where it happens, I'm going there and I'm sitting there, and a sensitive going, whoa, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there.
Yeah.
It's not that we're disrespecting what's happening there, it's that we need to document this. We need to feel that energy. We need to feel that spirit interact. We need to get an EVP or a K2 spike, and unfortunately, you can't document psychic phenomena. You can't document that a spirit's talking to you right now. You have to document it through EVP and other ways. Yeah. So that whole scenario where Dom going to sit down where the Indian is under the stairs at the fort to interact with that, and you're nervous because visually you've seen what happens there. That whole interaction is completely different for the two.
And exactly, and like Mike, I know Mike's seen it too. And Mike was you went closer to the stairs than I would ever go because you were like pretty much right up against. You were like right at the border.
I saw him. He was standing there staring back at me. Where
he was sitting, and he, the spirit, the entity, the energy, whatever he was, for me, his message to me was, if you come any closer, I'm gonna kill you. Obviously, he's not gonna really kill me. But for Mike, you were like, okay, whatever. I can still go in there. I'm tougher than you. I can do this. I can get closer to you. Dom, who doesn't see that and doesn't feel that, is like sitting right where he is, trying to get as much evidence as he can. Meanwhile, I'm like vomiting and I have butterflies in my stomach because I'm so worried that this thing is gonna lash out at him.
That was a crazy night too, because that was my first time ever going to the fort.
Yeah.
And I was setting up the cameras down in the dungeon. And then Marc comes on the walkie-talkie and says, did you just open that cell door? And I said, no, I'm setting up the camera. And I turned my back and the cell door's open. I didn't think anything of it. I shut the door. And then Lauren goes, why did you open the door? Why did you open the door? And I hear her on the walkie-talkie. And I call back. I didn't open the door. It was just opened.
Yeah.
And I just hear her go, oh, God.
Because I tell you, that makes me, I know. And I didn't mean that in a mean way. I was just like, don't do that. Please don't do that.
It's one of those things where I didn't have a camera with me, so I shut the door. The door opens again when I turn my back.
Exactly.
I shut the door. I said, you need to stay in there. We're not ready for you yet.
Yeah.
So, Vin, you've been to Fort William Henry before for a couple of Paracons. What did you experience at Fort William Henry? Vin?
Nope.
Hey, brother, did you miss my
man.
question? What the hell just happened?
I kind of did the back tour, so it was I didn't get inside very often, and we had a little bit of activity down in the cellar where the cells were.
Yes.
Yeah.
A few devices went off. We had those little light up balls, stuff like that. The trigger object device, I believe, went off once. But nothing really definitive. No like moving objects or nothing on camera.
Wow.
Interesting.
So we always get we've always gotten good evidence when we've gone to the fort. It's definitely an active area. I wish that it was a little closer so we could go a few more times. By the way, this is Vin Pacheco. He's the owner of Darkside Inc. and also the sponsor of our Lizzie Borden Took an Axe event. Say hi to everyone, Vin.
Hi everyone, Vin.
We love you. So I didn't bring you on to talk about Fort William Henry tonight, though. I brought you on to talk a little bit about Lizzie Borden, and you've got a close relationship with the Lizzie Borden house because you're only a few blocks away. and you do
Right.
the T-shirts and the mugs and stuff like that for them, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
What's also interesting that we found out a few years back was that my mill was actually built by a relative of Andrew Borden. I believe it was his uncle. It was actually called the American Printing Company back in the 1800s, and burnt to the ground and then rebuilt. But because of his insurance policy, a few years afterwards, he ended up losing the building, and it changed hands and so forth. But it dates back to the same time, earlier actually than when Lizzie was actually tried and everything. So it's pretty interesting that we've gone full circle, and it's a printing company, and I'm printing for the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah, it's kind of a little eerie.
It's a good tie-in.
Yep.
So one of the things that our event attendees know already, because we sent an email out to them, is that our event starts at Darkside Inc. And maybe you could shed a little bit of insight on why we decided to have the event start at Darkside Inc. We had that connection first with the Borden family, but
Right.
is that place that you own, is that haunted?
I've had 3 different teams come in because over the years, I've been there for about 15 years. And, again, like I said, at one time it was all one company. After that, it was other companies in there making material, stuff like that, whatever they were doing, sewing and whatnot. So it's had a lot of people in and out of there. Back then, the trains would unload the cotton. It would get processed, put back on the trains or onto the ships. And, again, as you know, I do a lot of work for other paranormal teams. I had a few instances myself in there, but once I started having teams pick up their shirts, a few of them would bring their wives or mediums with them. I had three or four different mediums that have come in over the past 7 years, and they all pretty much said the same thing. Not knowing each other, not knowing that the other ones had been in the building, they've all had a presence of 4 to 5 people coming at them because they knew they could see them and asking them questions and stuff like that. So I freaked quite a few people out with not telling them anything about the place.
Wow, that's pretty. That's something that hopefully we do have a few people who are sensitive and mediums coming to the event. Mm-hmm. So that's I don't wish.
If you rather I not tell them any information, I know a lot of people like to get their own ideas first. That's fine. We can figure out how they want to do that. I know when I do an investigation, I'd rather not do the walk around. I'd rather just be told where they think they want the cameras, and then I always, with gut instinct, I put a few somewhere else because I go by the premise nothing happens in the same place twice unless it's residual. So just because something happened in the kitchen once doesn't mean it's going to happen there again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but
right.
We can play it by ear.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Marc.
Kind of like when Marc kills spiders in our kitchen, Vin. He kills them.
What?
He kills them.
Oh, Vin and his spiders. Vin loves spiders, by the way. I got confused there for a second. I thought Lauren was I thought she was stroking out on there. But
he kills them, Vin. He kills them.
I can bring Boris if you want. He's really cute.
Vin has a banana spider in a jar. I thought it was a banana hammock, so I thought I was going to see a different picture.
Oh.
But it was a banana spider in a jar. And although I think it's a test tube, because I think it was all perspective on the photo, so it's only like a tiny little thing.
He's about 1.5 inches long.
Oh my God! Everything about that is.
We're talking about the spider, Vin.
Yeah. The spider. Yes, I'm on the same page. Love you too.
I love that laugh.
So Vin has been kind enough to open his shop up to us as our first stop on the Lizzie Borden event. This is a surprise that I had tried to hold back for many, many weeks and finally unleashed to everybody when I sent the email out. We decided to start the event at Darkside Inc. He's the sponsor. And this is a great spot because there is a tie-in with the Borden family. There's activity. And from what I understand, the elevator to the basement and getting into the basement is pretty creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if anybody wants to go down there. Some of them might get scarred for life. But it's extremely creepy. I mean, the whole building, it just has that look about it. You guys have been there enough. It's not in bad shape. I've been in worse mills, but it's got its own essence to it. And, I mean, to be in there at night, I'm used to working till midnight by myself. I'm the only one in the place. So it's got its own creaks and moans. And I would probably say a lot of times something was moving around in there, and I'm just so used to hearing things, I just, brushed it off. But we have had a lot of things happen in that shop during the day.
Definitely, definitely.
Unfortunately, not having cameras running or anything, it's, we've seen things, and I've had multiple people see the same thing happen in the shop. So,
oh man,
very cool.
We're
excited about this.
All right, I don't want you to give away any more. Before I get your loose, brother, on a very short visit, I want you to tell everybody, give everybody your website, your Facebook stuff, plug away for a quick minute, and then I'm going to take the next caller, if you will.
Okay. Well, on Facebook, they can find me at Darkside Inc. We have our own page, and also the website is Darkside Inc. DARKSIDEINK.com. If anyone needs to email me, don't go off the one on the site. It needs to be revamped. You can reach me at darksideinc@verizon.net.
Okay. What about if we want to reserve a room?
At the shop, you can call toll free 866-666-1662. That is a working number.
And Vin, just for the audience, are you single or are you a married man?
Single.
Single ladies.
Single.
Vin,
all the single ladies.
So listen, all these Paracons Vin's going to, there should be ladies lining up to hook up with him, right? Right, Vin? Right.
I have a few stalkers. We won't go any further with that.
Oh, speaking of...
Yeah, but those are men.
Speaking of, Flip says he loves you.
I'm sorry?
I said Flip says he loves you.
Yeah, see? There's one.
All right, Vin, I loved having you on. We loved having you on. And we'll talk to you in a couple days.
We're so excited to see you.
Looking forward to seeing you again,
cool.
Vin.
We'll see you guys soon.
Right.
Have a great night. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
And who was our next caller?
Well, that brings us up to the next guy. I don't know if anybody else knows this guy out there, but caller, can you identify yourself, please?
It's Dom Ghost Hunter.
I don't think anybody knows you. Can you say your
Dom.
name?
Hey, bro, what's up?
Knocking things over.
Hey, Lauren.
How's it going, Dom?
Hey, Mike. How are you, bro?
I'm doing good. I would just like to let the audience know that I have been investigating with Dom for about 2 years. We co-founded Can-Am Paranormal with Marc, Lauren, myself, Dom, and MJ, and we were at Paracon last year, and girls were actually coming up to me and said, "Oh, I know you. You investigate with Dom." And all of my energy just fell through. And I was like, but you know what? Dom is so awesome that I don't care.
Dom's a ladies' man.
Dom is the king of the ladies.
So Dom, why are you
Yes, sir.
why are you on the show tonight? Are you coming to the Lizzie Borden event?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I can't wait, bro. Because I did the Lizzie Borden once, just a walkthrough, where I kind of hid behind the people who were doing the tour, and I was staying always 2 rooms behind everybody, you know me. And that place is incredible, and I just always wished that I could investigate it. And Friday's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I've been reading about it, and just getting prepared and preparing my questions for VP or Ghostbug section or whatever. And it's a dream come true because it's probably one of the most. Who doesn't know the story of Lizzie Borden?
Yeah.
So it's it was on my to-do list, and I'm sure it was on yours and Mike and Lauren also.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is one of those locations that we have the privilege of going to. That's a bucket list location.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not at the top of everybody's list, but Lizzie Borden House. Who doesn't want to go there and try to get the EVP that solves the case?
Yeah. Exactly.
This is not a closed case. This is not a we know who the murderer is case. Lizzie Borden was accused and she was acquitted. She never went to jail for the murders. She was arrested, but she was tried and she was acquitted, I believe, twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And this is something that is not a solved case. So we can't walk in and go, yeah, you did it, didn't you?
Yeah.
She may have. The evidence points to her, but there's a real good chance that maybe she didn't. Because way back then, I'm not saying way back then, but back then, investigation was kind of sloppy. The way that they gathered evidence and put the pieces together.
It wasn't sloppy. It's that they didn't have DNA technology. They
didn't
have any way to really. They didn't understand preservation. They didn't understand. So a lot of times, I remember I was reading about this case back in one of my courses, but it was one of the very first men who thought, hey, you know what? let's put some plaster on that footprint and take it back to the station and see if we can identify it using that. You know, and this was in like the 1850s or 60s. So they didn't have the knowledge. They didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. Forensics was still in its infancy at the time.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, like, we're talking like embryo, if you're going for forensics. And I think it is a privilege to go to a house like this and do that.
Yeah.
To be able
oh my God, yeah, and I was reading about the trial, you know, where they took the heads of the corpse and they presented it as a, you know, during the testimony, you know, to show their skulls being crushed. And I'm like, oh my God. It was like only 100 years ago, you know, like 110 years ago. And can't believe how far, like you said, forensic has gone from that day and age, you know, where they had to take the, you know, the head of the corpse just to present it to the jury. And I was like, my goodness. And Lizzie fainted seeing that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yep. Or Christina Ricci fainted when she saw it. I don't know about Lizzie, but Christina Ricci did.
Oh my God. Lauren's referencing the made-for-TV movie of Lizzie Borden took an act, or Lizzie Borden.
Something like Lizzie Borden took an act or whatever.
But no, Dom. Now you've been to the house, Dom. You have some pretty cool video from the house of hanging behind the group, like you said, and investigating Andrew Borden's body, or the quote-unquote dummy of the body, if you will. And you were getting some K2.
You know, Mark, that was the first time in my investigations I was touched. You know, it was the first time ever, because I was, remember, with Pete and Donna back then, and you know, Donna was always touching my shoulder. Hey, Don, look at this. Hey, Don, look at that. So somebody touched my shoulder. I thought it was her, so I didn't look. I was filming. You know, in the living room, in front of the chair that was killed, and there's a mannequin there, you know, still with blood, false blood, you know, still sitting where the same way Mr. Borden was when he was, you know, axed to death. And so I'm standing right in front of that, and I'm asking questions, and my case is spiked in the red, and I felt cold chill, like something was standing right next to me and touching my right arm, but still I didn't know that I was by myself. And then I saw Pete and Donna coming back. Hey, Don, are you coming up? And I realized I was all alone, so I realized nobody touched my shoulder. So I was like, oh my God, that was the first time ever I was touched, you know, during investigation not by one of my teammates or whatever, because I was all alone in the living room. So unless somebody sneaked in, touched my shoulder, and ran back, you know, that was probably one of the coolest thing ever. And you can't see it in the video because, you know, I don't react to it because I'm really thinking it's, so, you know, I don't even react to it. But afterwards, I was like, my God, I'm by myself. And that was cool, you know. And then at the onset Victoria mentioned, it happened again. That was cool too. But you know, the Lizzie Borden, you know, I can't wait to go back. You know, I really can't wait to see what we can find. You know.
Yes. Now, Don, that wasn't. Now you've touched yourself before, so that wasn't the first time you'd been touched, right?
Yeah, because as Victoria mentioned, you know, I was slapped back of the head. That was pretty cool too. You know, that's the kind of thing that you know, you're looking forward to when you start investigating. You know, like. Can they touch us? You know, do they have the strength to move stuff or to touch me? And when it happens, you know, to me it's cool. You know, I'm not saying that I would find it cool. You know, like the bed and breakfast in Kingston, you know, touching the leg, and I'm like, damn, you know. And they can touch you. What else can they do? You know?
Yeah. And that's just it. I mean, it's what else can they do? People have been touched, they've been scratched, they've been pushed, they've been thrown. You know, I mean, there are quote unquote reports of a person being killed by a spirit, but I mean, that's one of the things I've always said is no one's been killed by a spirit. So, you know, when people say you're scared to do what you do, I mean, you always have this little doubt in your head as to what you're getting into when you do it, but the excitement that happens when you begin interacting with the unknown just overwhelms all of that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, we just had something happen.
Really?
So we have a spirit that likes to frequent our apartment, and ever since we had Zaphis on, the thing's been crazy.
Yeah.
And we just had a noise in the other room. Apologize for that.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, but one of the things I was just going to bring that up is like, I'm in no way fearless. Okay, I'm not going to do anything that Dom or Mike or you do. Sometimes I'll go, yeah, you know what, screw it, I'm going down there. I don't care because I'm ready. But other times I'm walking down a banister like a little kid, holding that thing so tight because I'm like, this effort is going to push me down if I don't pay attention and keep myself level. I think about things like that all the time.
You have to not think about it. You have to clear your mind of anything that's going to happen to you, and you have to be fearless.
Well, it's not anything else. The stairs is the only thing.
Well,
everything else I'm okay with. I'm like, push me to the door, push me out the window. I don't care. But it's like the stairs for some reason.
You feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
You feel vulnerable because you're walking down, you're off balance already because you're picking your feet up, putting them down, going down. So you
and
feel
also
vulnerable.
because I flail.
Oh, and you flail. So, Lauren flails. Just if anybody wants to know, just come talk to us sometime. She'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Dom, I have a question from the chat room. I need you to do me a favor real quick. Can you kind of go along with me with this?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Say go.
Go.
Leafs.
Please.
Go Leafs.
What? What was that word, bro?
That doesn't compute in a Montreal chat there. It's go Leafs, man. Somebody wants to know if the Maple Leafs are the better team. Go Leafs.
Oh, they want to say Maple Leafs? They want me to say the word Maple Leafs? Yeah, no, never.
Oh, man. So this debacle of a show has been carrying on here, and I think we're doing pretty good.
Well, let's talk about more paranormal stuff.
You know what? Yeah, actually, here in Montreal, when they wanted to trade Josh Georges to the Leafs, he said, no, I don't want to be traded to the Leafs. I can't. I'm an am. I can't. It's something. It's like you're born to hate the Maple Leafs, and it's the same thing over there. It's a big rivalry. I think it's even bigger than with the Boston Bruins, which is unbelievable, by the way. But I think the rivalry between the Habs and the Leafs is incredible.
Dom, did you say Dolph Lundgren? Who did you say? I don't watch hockey. I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren. Did you watch the by the way?
Wait. The guy from Rocky?
Yeah.
Plays for the Habs? I didn't know that. Well, you guys might want to trade Dolph Lundgren. I don't know. He's not that great a player.
Him and...
So, I'm sorry.
We'll go back. We've digressed.
Getting back to why we all watch or listen to a paranormal
Mike
radio
would like
show.
to say something.
Yes, I would like to let everybody know, which I'm sure Mark and Lauren have probably said before, that the city that this show actually comes from has a very long history.
Right.
And Dom and myself have actually managed to investigate the place where the city of Gloucester was founded, which is Half Moon Beach. And it was actually founded by a group called the Dorchester Company from England. And Dom and I were actually investigating it one night, and Dom started speaking French, which it was a port for a while for the French as well as the English. Mm-hmm. And we were actually getting we got some EVPs, we got some Spirit Box, we got some hits in the K2. Mm-hmm. But my favorite part of the night, and Dom, I'd like you to tell the story, was when we were at a cemetery near our house, and Dom asked if the spirit was French, what the response was.
It was a big F-U, clear as day. It just said, it was clear as day. It was talking to me, reacting to every question that we were asking. And when I asked that question, it just said, fuck you. Clear as day. And I could hear it. I can still hear Mike laughing at it. Like, damn, it really said fuck you.
Denny, please mark this rated R. Denny, please mark this rated R for the rest of the show.
And calling in on line 2, we have the FCC.
But it was very special. This place was incredible. It's like right in your backyard, bro. It's about, maybe 2 blocks from where you live.
It was 2 degrees out that night. But
the small cemetery, Universalist, right?
Yes, the first Universalist cemetery.
Wow.
There's no second Universalist. Is there? Last Universalist.
I've been looking for the second one, but
it's like we are the 5th Universalist church. But we should also talk about, let's let Dom talk about some of his most, I don't know what the word is.
Favorite.
Like his favorite investigation or investigations or, his hottest.
Well, to me, I think my home away from home is, and I'm sure all of you will agree, is the outer dimension. And I don't know why, because the first time, Mark, you were there before me with Mike, and then you told me about the place. You told me, this place is incredible. You'll love it. It's an old mansion. The Mason Temple inside the house, and the basement is like 300 years old. It was an old house where the family died. A creepy story. So the first time I was there, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but it's you're starting investigating. You're like, I want to go to Penhurst. I want to go to Eastern State. I want to go to Waverly Hills. I want to go to Bobby Mackey. I'll mention, that's cool. But and then it was like we've been there like 5 or 6 times, bro, already. And every time we come up with new answers and new questions. and never left the place disappointed. And it's actually the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. Maybe you can tell better than me what happened to me in the basement. I think it was not the last time, but maybe I think about a year ago, where in the basement we were investigating. Like usually we get a little girl that play with the pinwheels and stuff like that, but that night was different, and I started feeling aggressive. And maybe you'll be able to tell people how different I was from usually when I investigate. Because Mike, I think you were upstairs back when it happened. I don't think you were with me in the basement when I don't know how to explain it. Honestly, I really don't know.
So what Don's referring to is at Houghton Mansion. There's about 4 different levels that you can really Well, I'd say more actually. I'm sorry. There's many different levels to investigate at that place. There's the Masonic Temple. There's a back room to the Masonic Temple. There's a 3rd floor which has different activity from the 2nd floor, which has different activity from the 1st floor, which has different activity from the basement. This whole place. So
there's basically 4 levels plus the Masonic Temple.
Yeah.
Plus the side room.
Yeah,
plus
well, yeah,
the new wing.
but the Masonic Temple is its own.
So
I call that its own entity.
Yeah,
its own
there's
area.
lots of levels and layers to this place, and there's different hauntings that happen at each level.
Completely different.
Some of them overlap, but most of the time, it's completely different.
Yeah.
In the basement, for what we know, there's a little girl that's in the basement. Everybody calls her Laura, only because the only connection you can have to a little child would have been the Houghton's daughter, Laura, who died at the age of 5, which when people have described seeing this spirit is about that age. So she has shown herself, she seems to interact more with females than males. So we were going through and doing this, but lately, at that time even, there seemed to be something different with the haunting at the mansion. There seemed to be a darker level to everything. So when we did this, and we were in the mansion, and we were in the basement, and we thought we were interacting with Laura, Dom had an experience where, very uncharacteristically, he became, I don't want to say belligerent, but he was angry.
He was aggressive.
He was aggressive. He was like wanting to fight, and that's not Dom. If you know Dom, he's a sweetheart. He's an awesome guy.
I've never seen Dom get angry ever.
He was saying the F word. He was swearing at me, and something was definitely impacting him. He was definitely having an impression happen upon him. Almost to the point where it was an oppression. So, at first I was laughing, and then I'm like, this isn't Dom. We got to get him out of here. So we ended up taking him out, and I somehow convinced him, you know what, this is great, awesome, we're done, let's leave the basement. Took him outside, and he was like, oh my God. After he calmed down, he realized what had happened to him in the basement there, and realized that something else was impressing him, that this wasn't Dom. And it was, taking him out of the situation and getting him to calm down and, center himself again. And he was able to continue investigating. But he's a seasoned investigator. Dom's not a rookie. He's one of the, other than Mike and Lauren, I would trust Dom with my life, and this guy had an issue with what was going on, and he couldn't control it. We had to look from the outside and realize and react to what was happening and take him out of the situation. So that was pretty intense at that time.
At first, Marc thought his impersonation of me.
The reason why, you don't go investigate alone, because I've done it before, before that investigation. I would go sometimes investigate alone, do private homes, and after that, I never did, because you never know what can happen. And I just can't imagine if you start feeling like that, but you're by yourself, what else can happen, if you, I don't know, you have to come back home, you have family and you got a job, so I really can't imagine if you're in a situation like that by yourself. That just shows that it's important to have teammates and people that you can count on. That's why there's teams, and that's why we're calling ourselves brothers, because in situations like that, I would have done the same thing, and I'm sure Mike would do the same thing if someone. And I think, Mike, it happened to you also during one of your private home investigations, right? Where you're starting to feel like that, and you're starting not to feel well. And I remember we talked about it, in private home investigation you did with Marc and Lauren, and where you're starting to feel like that.
Yeah, it was one of my newer investigations. We were in the basement of a hotel, and I started to feel this just intense anger coming over me in this cold, like something was trying to take over me. And I remember that I just started getting really aggressive, and I was aggravated. And then I knew what to do. I pulled my cross out, and I said, you need to back off. I am not allowing you to enter me. You need to back off. And it just left an impression on me for a couple of days. I was depressed. I was sad. I was sitting in my room in the dark, and that's not like me. I just got up, and I saged the house and myself and put some holy water on, and I just felt a complete night and day difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that we as investigators, we got to recognize. You can't just expect yourself to be able to handle everything. You need to have other people be able to come to you and say, hey, something's going on. You need to step away. You need to get out of here for a minute. Yeah. You know.
You start having an allergic reaction to something that you've never had an allergic reaction to before. What do? Handle it yourself, or do you call someone for help?
Yeah.
Do you really expect to go into someone's house, and if something dark or evil or bad or whatever you want to call it starts influencing you, what are you going to go down and say? It's cool, I can handle it. I'm Chuck Norris, you know. I'll punch it through my
Chuck Norris
channel.
could handle it. Hey. Chuck
hey.
Norris could handle that,
He
okay?
probably could.
Don't even say that.
I think that
Point being, you know, it's like you need someone else there.
That is the beauty of our team, is not only does everyone have a different aspect of how they want to investigate, we all know each other. We know our personalities. We know each other's personalities, and we know when something's off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like we know, I know when Marc and Mike and Dom are agitated, or when something not right is going on. I know when they're just like, shut the hell up, Lauren, flail, you know, quit tripping down the stairs and like dropping equipment, and you're like, I know when you're being an ass, or something's not right, and we need to deal with this. Because it's happening before. It's happened to me. It happened to me.
You know, that's the thing, is that you never know when it can happen, because you can go to a Bobby Mackey expecting to get scratched, or expecting something, you know, very aggressive kind of reactions, and find out that, no, there's nothing aggressive. Yeah. You know, when I went to Bobby Mackey, it was very active. It was incredible, but I never felt, you know, like I didn't feel anything negative, even in the basement. But sometimes, you know, you go to a private home, and it's a beautiful neighborhood, a brand new house. You're like, oh, okay. So you get your stuff, and you have to be prepared, because that's probably sometimes those times that, you know, when you're not really on your A game, that stuff like that can happen. And it happened to me not that long ago during a private home investigation where I wouldn't say not prepared, but I was just coming back from an investigation that we did. It was the weekend after, you know, the terrorist recon in Lake George. And I was tired because, you know, you're like 2 or 3 days without sleeping. And especially when you have people snoring beside you. Oh, my gosh. You know, it wasn't you, Mike. But, you know, I was physically tired. And, you know, all hell broke loose during the investigation. Me and my teammates here, all hell broke loose. And I was, you know, tired. And we had to go back because we did more harm than good. You know, when we left for the first time ever, the owner called me back a week later saying, you know what, since you came, guys, it's been worse. So you're like, oh, that's the last thing in the world I want. You know, I'm going to do private investigations to help people, not to get things worse. So we came back, and the second time around, we had our A game on, and we were ready. And I was ready to face, you know, anything. And we were able to I think to be able to help that spirit leave. It was a very aggressive spirit, and we never. I don't think I ever felt something like that before. You know, I felt as if it was about to jump me in the basement. You know, when you feel like somebody is standing right in front of you and is ready to jump at you, that's how I felt. So, but you know, the first time I went there, I was not prepared at all. It just shows that you always got to be ready all the time.
About the Irish Mist, Dom, you remember what we encountered at the bar at the Irish Mist? And it just went from person to person, attacking everybody.
That place was incredible, especially when you guys left for about 3 hours and a half to get pizza for me. Thank you, guys. And I was by myself in that creepy neighborhood, and I saw drug dealers at the street corners, and I saw my car, and I was like, okay, they're never coming back. Because I thought you'd be back like an hour after that, but you left for about 3 hours and a half, and I was really scared that, you know, we were carjacked or whatever, and I was to be by myself. I didn't have a cell phone back then, and I was all by myself. I didn't have John Tobin's number. You know, basically I was screwed.
Tom, just for the record, we went 3.5 hours. It was maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours.
And we went to the ghetto for your pizza.
The majority of it was waiting for your pizza to get cooked at a place where I thought I was going to get stabbed at any given second at the cash register.
Circling the block. I didn't think we were going to make it back.
You know, that's a bad neighborhood. But yet to get back, Mike, you know, in the bar area, I think you and MJ were scratched. And I think it was the only one that wasn't scratched. You probably were like, poor guy, you know. It was left here, you know, with drug dealers. So we'll spare him for tonight.
Unfortunately, the Irish Mist is no longer around. The Irish Mist was sold, and I'm not sure what's going on in the building now. But it was in an old stove factory, you know, a couple 100 years old building.
/ mob front.
That had
allegedly.
All the things you look at: limestone foundation, water running behind it, possible fire with people dead in it. There was a huge
fire.
And 5 inches of bird crap on every level.
There's a huge history behind this in Troy for the Irish Mist. It was a bar. So the first floor was a bar and like function area. Then the rest of the building, going up 3 or 4 floors, was an old stove, like completely gutted out warehouse. So we're investigating, and the bar was like the least amount of activity from what people reported. We're investigating. Dom has gone home by now because he was, I don't know, he was overloaded on pizza or something, so he went home. And
to be fair, Dom was investigating while we were gone getting his pizza, so he made up the hours.
Yes, he was investigating. So
for about half an hour, I was, you know, on the 4th floor, and I was really scared of the guys that had seen me through the window, because when I shined, you know, my big infrared camera, they saw me and they looked at me, and I heard the door slam, so I just hid underneath. I really thought the guys are going to come in the building and shoot me. And that was the only time I was really scared during the investigation, but not a spirit, you know, of the living. So when you came back, you know, I've never been so happy to see people coming, you know, but I still ate the pizza.
And I might add, Dom ate almost the whole pizza. So, but
you're right.
We were there. I mean, everybody, after Dom left, everybody who was remaining, myself, Lauren, Mike, and MJ, we all ended up getting scratched. And we documented it with photos. I mean, that place was one of the craziest spots we've been to as far as activity went that we didn't expect to be active like that.
No, we actually taken a break and all hell broke loose at the bar.
Yeah. So anyway, Dom, I hate to do this to you, but we gotta wrap up because time's out here on Blog Talk. They won't let us go longer than another minute. So we gotta let you go and wrap this up. But tell everybody how they can find you on that internet thing that people go on and look for stuff.
Yeah, on Twitter at Dumb Ghost Hunter, on Facebook Dumb Ghost Hunter Paranormal. So basically, I'm there, you know, almost 24/7, 365. I sleep with my cell phone on, and you know, I think that even I tweet when I sleep. I'm not sure, but I think I do, bro.
I've received those tweets. It's something like
Dom, I love you. Can't wait to see you in 2 days.
Looking forward to seeing you too. Always a pleasure, my friend.
All right, and I can't wait, guys. 2 days, and we'll be investigating at Lizzie Borders. It's going to be incredible.
All right, brother. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dom.
Bye.
There's that awkward hang-up that we always dread where I got Dom saying bye.
Like, oh, yes, you guys, bye.
And they're telling us you have to go.
And we have
so the British woman tells us we have a few seconds left in the show, but we'd like to say thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. It was a little different. We didn't have a big famous person talking to us and telling us what to do.
I like to still think I'm famous.
Someday.
But
thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week to Paranormal Hangover, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Love, dub.